Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most dominant forces in the UFC right now, Islam Makhachev. But we're not just gonna talk about his greatness in isolation. Oh no, we're gonna compare him to two of the best to ever do it, Jones and George St. Pierre. And by the end of this, you'll understand why Islam might actually be the best fighter to ever live. Alright, first things first. Let's talk stats. As of right now, Islam Makhachev is the reigning UFC lightweight champion with a record of 27 wins and just one loss. That loss, it was to the very skilled Adriano Martins back in 2015. Since then, Islam has gone on a 12-fight win streak and dominated every single opponent in his path. I mean, we're talking about high-level guys like Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, and Charles Oliveira. All elite fighters who were shut down by Islam's pressure, grappling and striking. But here's the thing, stats can only tell you so much. Let's dive deeper and compare his career to Jon Jones and George St. Pierre. Now, we gotta start with Jon Jones. Jon is one of the most decorated champions in UFC history, with a record of 26 wins and one loss. And that one loss? It's technically a disqualification. The guy has been untouchable for nearly a decade. But here's the thing, Jon's resume includes victories over some legends like Daniel Cormier, Shogun Rua, and Rampage Jackson. But how does Islam compare to Jon Jones? For one, Jon's prime years came in an era where there wasn't as much emphasis on overall fight IQ and adaptability. The sport was still evolving. Now, in the modern era of MMA, fighters are more well-rounded, and they have access to far better training methods and analytics. When we look at Islam's wins over Oliveira and Dariush, we're talking about wins against fighters who are not only extremely skilled, but also have access to world-class training. Oliveira had one of the most dangerous submission games in the lightweight division, and Islam shut that down with relentless pressure and top control. He didn't let Charles breathe. He didn't let him work his dangerous jiu-jitsu, and that's a testament to Islam's evolution as a fighter in the current MMA climate. Jon Jones, on the other hand, may have been able to beat legends in his time, but his opponents often had very one-dimensional skill sets. Jon's win over someone like Shogun Rua, for example, was impressive at the time, but we've seen fighters like Jon adjust and evolve, and today's fighters have figured out more ways to combat his length and reach. Now, let's talk about George St. Pierre, GSP, the former welterweight and middleweight champ who reigned over the UFC for years with a record of 26 wins and 2 losses. GSP's best wins include legends like BJ Penn, Matt Hughes, and Josh Koscheck. His wrestling was elite, his striking was crisp, and he had some of the best fight IQ the sport has ever seen. But here's the difference when comparing Islam to GSP. George didn't have the same level of competition in his prime that Islam faces right now. The skill gap was wider back in GSP's day. For example, Matt Hughes was a legend in his own right, but he didn't have the same level of well-roundedness and striking that we see in fighters like Oliveira or Dariush today. Islam isn't just beating these guys, he's doing it in the most dominant way possible, with a mix of pressure, grappling, and intelligent striking that shows just how evolved the sport has become. And when Islam went to war with Charles Oliveira, who at the time was considered the most dangerous submission artist ever in the UFC, he neutralized him. No one before Islam has been able to do that to Oliveira, who previously dominated other elite opponents with his BJJ. Let's shift gears a little and talk about why Islam is so dominant in the lightweight division. The dude is an absolute animal at 155 pounds. Why? Because he combines high-level sambo with incredible cardio, strong wrestling, and a striking game that gets better every fight. The lightweight division is the deepest in MMA right now, and Islam is at the top of the food chain. Fighters like Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, and Dustin Poirier have all had their shot at the title, but Islam has systematically broken them down. Now, let's talk about how he could emulate this success at welterweight. Islam's frame is built for it. At 5 feet 10 inches with a reach of 70 inches, Islam's physical tools would carry over well to 170 pounds. We've already seen his ability to wrestle bigger, stronger opponents and grind them down. Think about a fight with someone like Kamaru Usman or Leon Edwards, two of the best wrestlers and strikers in the welterweight division. If Islam can get his hands on them like he does to lightweight fighters, I don't see how they can keep him off. Sure, the power at welterweight is a bit heavier, but Islam has shown he can take shots and keep coming forward. His pressure game is insane, and his ability to dictate the pace and control his opponents on the ground will allow him to fight anyone, even the best strikers in the division. So, what does this all mean? Look, Islam Makhachev is not just dominating the lightweight division. He's doing it in a way that we've never seen before in MMA. He's got the wrestling, the pressure, and the evolving striking game that has made him a true threat in the modern era. And when you compare his wins to Jon Jones and Georges St-Pierre, it's clear. He's fighting in a much tougher, more well-rounded division, and still coming out on top in dominant fashion. Islam's future is bright, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he dominates not just lightweight, but welterweight too. The sport has evolved, and Islam is the perfect representation of that evolution. All right, that's it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Islam the best to ever do it? Can he take over welterweight? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more MMA content.